Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Salty Nerd Late Night Show. Tonight, we are going to be discussing the new Halo trailer from Paramount Plus, speculating on what that show is going to be about, what's the deal with this silver timeline that they have us going on, the pros and cons of doing something like that. I'm joined by a fantastic panel. JT Gunter is here, and also Matthew Kadish himself, the writer extraordinaire. So we are super excited. We're all Halo fans here, and we were really excited by that trailer yesterday. I did a little bit of a reaction to it. That's on the channel if you want to check that out. But tonight we're going to be diving deep into what this all means, what this show might be about, and some of the pitfalls that they're going to have to dodge. So Broken Birds is in the chat. Welcome, patron of the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Real quick, guys, since there is a patron in the chat, $5 a month is going to get you access to 4 exclusive podcasts a month from our podcast. And right now we're doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's going to be exclusive for club members. Last month we did Doctor Who, and we're basically going through the legacy sci-fi stuff. So if you're into that, if you're thirsty for more content about some of all that kind of great sci-fi content that is years in the past, head over to saltynerdclub.com and join in. But without further ado, let's talk about freaking Halo from Paramount Plus. We had a great trailer last night. I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun reacting to it. I probably watched it like 5 or 6 times, and I was blown away by how good Master Chief looked. Not really much about the story was given away, but there is room for speculation. Real quick, Kadish, what did you think about that trailer that dropped?
I loved it. It was the music was the cover of Phil Collins' "In the Air Tonight." It was freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. The setup for the story was all really cinematic and epic feeling. There was a little bit of characterization of Master Chief where he starts off as this control for the military, and then he touches an alien thing, and now he's changed. You know, he's fighting aliens 2 times his size. Everything about the trailer was just epic. I loved every minute of it.
Nice, excellent. JT, what do you think, bud?
I would agree. It was a fun trailer. The special effects look pretty sweet. As far as that picture you have right now up there with Master Chief, that's straight from the game. That looks really cool. That was a really wow moment for me. I would agree the music was neat. I'm a big fan of Phil Collins, so can't go
wrong. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is his Halo 2 armor that they have right here, and it looks freaking gorgeous.
Well, you know what's interesting is they've done like live action Halo commercials in the past, so they have all these props, and I'm guessing that a lot of the special effects, one of the reasons why it looks so good is because the video games have all like the 3D models for this stuff, and they just had to like retexture them to make them like 4K ready or something like that, because the special effects looked like feature film quality. It was really impressive.
Yeah, especially when he was going up against the freaking elites for that few seconds there. That was freaking incredible. I have the trailer pulled up. I can't play it because we'll get copyright struck, but if I can find that moment, it blew me away. Like, here we go, right here. This little clip right here where he's taking on 2 elites with the laser swords or the energy swords. It's just,
yeah.
And there's a moment too where the elite grazes Master Chief's shield.
Yeah, you can see the shield.
You can see the shield activate. I'm like, gosh, man, they took their time. They really made this feel legit. There's only one thing I had a little bit of an issue with, and it's not so much of an issue. It's just something that kind of struck me as odd, and that's the use of Pablo's voice instead of the classic Master Chief voice from the video games. So the actress who plays Cortana in the video games is actually back as Cortana in this show. Which is great. I love seeing that. I'm so happy to have that.
She looks weird, man.
She does look very strange. I don't know if they're going for the hologram effect with her or not.
Well, she's obviously fully CG. Yeah. But the Cortana I'm used to is like the blue hologram Cortana.
Yeah, I'm wondering why they went this direction with her. I'm only speculating. The only thing I can think of is maybe it's cheaper to do it this way for the visual effects than it is to do like a fully hologram blue person. Maybe it wasn't convincing. Maybe it didn't translate onto a live action screen. I don't know.
I mean, like they pulled it off in Star Wars. they've had that effect for a while.
They got Star Wars money,
True.
man.
True fact.
Oh, you mean like the old school holograms?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But
Yeah, you know the blue tinted hologram thing.
yeah. Communication disruption can only mean one thing. But real quick, let's dive into the story about this. The main thing about this night I wanted to talk about was the entire timeline for this is going to be completely different from the video games, which is a double-edged sword. I can 100% understand why people would be worried about that, why they would criticize that. There's many pitfalls that come with that kind of action. So there's a on Gizmodo, there's a little bit of an interview here that kind of explains the situation and why they did that. So I'll read that real quick and then we can kind of comment on it. It says in a lengthy new blog post this week, 343 Industries head of transmedia, that's a really weird title, Kiki Wolfkill and Halo creative director Frank O'Connor took to the official Halo site and dove into the creation of what has been dubbed the Silver Timeline for Halo the series. A completely separate but adjacent branch of continuity diverged from the Halo games and their accompanying novels from the past 20 years of Master Chief saving the galaxy and occasionally being reminded that he was a child soldier. The separate timeline for Halo the series is named for one of the key tweaks between the game series continuity, Silver Team, the trio of Spartan 2 soldiers that will accompany Pablo Schreiber's Master Chief in the show, even if 343 hinted that the members of the Silver Team do also exist somewhere out there in the continuity of the games. So here's one of the reasons why they changed it. I guess they're making some changes to the characters' relationships. There's a couple other articles where they talk about how it's not going to be like completely different, but it's just slightly different enough that they can't really stay to the video game storyline. It says, which is interesting in part because Wolfkill and O'Connor also explicitly reassured fans that while the Silver Timeline is a different strand of Halo canon, it is not radically different to the point that it's unrecognizable to people who have devoured the ancillary Halo material that has fleshed out the universe of the games for years at this point. There's a quote from one of them that says, basically, we want to use the existing Halo lore, history, canon, and characters wherever they make sense for the linear narrative, but also separate the two distinctly so that we don't invalidate the core canon or do unnatural things to force a first-person shooter video game into an ensemble TV show. I can totally understand why they're saying this. They don't want to handcuff themselves with video game stuff and possibly some books out there. They want to be able to do their own thing with this TV show that's made for a mass audience. It's going to be made for people who haven't seen Halo. So they have to do a lot of explanation. They're going to have to explain the Covenant. They're going to have to explain who the Chief is. I understand where they're coming from. It does make me nervous, but I think that might be the right call. Kadish, what do you think about this kind of stuff?
I think anytime creatives place importance on canon and don't want to screw things up is a good thing. The attention to detail here is what's going to be important because you have a huge fan base of the video games and all the extended material coming into this, and so you don't want to piss them off by pulling a Star Trek and essentially like invalidating decades worth of canon just by saying like, oh, okay, this is our show and this is what we're doing with it. So I greatly admire that they're trying to, at least play nice with the continuity that's currently out there. And I'll be interested to see what they come up with. I stopped playing Halo after the third game. So like as soon as Bungie kind of left the series, I lost interest in it. So I'm not really steeped in the lore. Like I know the basics of it. Yeah. But from what I saw from the trailer, it looks like they got all the big points right. So I'm just looking forward to it.
That's what I'm hoping for. Like if they're going to make changes, I'm okay with that. I just want them to get the heart of the story right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really hoping for, hoping that they get right. So I don't mind if they make small continuity changes just for the live action version. That's okay. JT, what do you think about that, man? How do you feel about them changing the timeline to this new Silver timeline?
Well, I mean, it sounds like a good idea to maybe change it so that way you can do your own stories. But I'm always nervous about video game movies, TV shows, because I'm a big fan of like Assassin's Creed and Uncharted. So I don't know how that movie's gonna happen, but I know Assassin's Creed I was very disappointed. So I just hope they don't really ruin it, and because they try to do their own story in Assassin's Creed and they completely ruined the whole storyline, and I just hope they don't do that here. That's all. Sorry, but
so a lot of the times we'll also see content creators say something like, well, this is not technically the version of the show or the video game or whatever that you know, and if you don't like it, it's not made for you. You can go back and go play your games if you want, if you don't like our
Yeah.
like I can totally see them using this as a cop out for if the show doesn't do as well as they wanted it to, or if it catches flack for being overly political or something like that. They're definitely going to pull that card.
and they'll lose their fan base too. If
Well, the thing is the two showrunners on this show, the main producers, they have a pretty good track record. So basically, Kyle Killen, he did this really great show with Jason Isaacs called Awake. It was like a real big mind bender of a show. I really enjoyed it. It only lasted one season though. And then Stephen Kane, who seems to be the head showrunner on this, he did The Closer, which is one of the best crime dramas I think ever put on TV.
Nice.
And he also did The Last Ship, which I thought was pretty good up until the last couple seasons. But he's got a pretty solid track record in terms of like delivering like good, solid storylines without, political messaging or anything like that. No wokeness or anything. And The Last Ship actually had Adam Baldwin as one of the main actors on it. So it'd be cool if he showed up in the Halo series at some point. But I'm pretty encouraged by what I've seen so far. Like there's always that things like, oh, it's Paramount ruined Star Trek, so they'll probably ruin Halo. But it all comes down to the creative team behind it, and I think this creative team so far, from what I've seen, is pretty solid.
Right on. Here's another article real quick. It says, because the Master Chief and Cortana are key characters in the series and only met shortly before the start of the original game, not diverging from the canon would have meant directly retelling the events of the games. With that not happening here, it gives 343 and the production team more room to surprise fans. Okay. Even those who have consumed everything with Halo on the cover, this includes how the two land on the original Ring world, which will not be accidental like it was in the first game. Okay, so there.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that the storylines in the games are very light. Like there's not much to them, and especially once 343 took over, their storylines were just like ridiculously bad. They hired a writer who I guess like what just wasn't very good, but they also put out a lot of like books and stuff like that you had to read in order to understand what was going on in the games and things of that nature. And apparently those weren't very good either. Mm-hmm. So like I just remember like Halo's story while there wasn't like, because I remember playing the first game. It's like you wake up and on this ship with in the lab, and they're like orienting you, and then like all of a sudden the Covenant invades the ship, and you got to fight your way out, and you land on this Halo ring, and not a big deal is made out of the fact that you're like on this weird ring in space. It's just like, oh, there's a ring here. And then like you fight aliens, and then you find out that there are even worse aliens that you have to team up with the bad aliens to fight. And that's pretty much it. Like there's not like a whole lot of story structure to these games. So I think that like actually having like a like kind of focused narrative for the series where they're setting up like the sacred Halo ring, and like there was a Forerunner race and all this other stuff is probably going to be for the best, because like as much as the games are beloved, they're beloved for their gameplay more so than their story. I mean, they definitely have their lore, and hardcore fans love finding like all like the hidden Easter eggs in the games and learning about it and reading all like the encyclopedia entries that you unlock and stuff like that. But for the most part, for the casual gamer, it was just about, I'm going to hop into multiplayer, and I'm going to get these weapons, and I'm going to frag everyone I see.
See, I'm a single player video game guy. I rarely ever get on multiplayer games, and I've played every single Halo game out there. In fact, I'm about halfway through the newest one, Infinite, that just came out. I will agree with you though, Kadish. Halo 3 was the last one that had like a solid story. The rest of them have kind of been like real convoluted.
Well, that was the last one Bungie did. But I remember back in the day, like we would play these death matches where it was like all sniper rifles, and like we'd just be running around sniping each
with a
other.
sword.
Yeah. Like Halo multiplayer was what really put it on the map, you know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, as far as gaming goes. Backyard TARDIS makes a good point. He says, well, the stuff about AI rampancy with Cortana is a big point. That is true. That I'm sure they're going to be seasons in before they bring this up, but Cortana's programming degenerates over time, and they call it rampancy with the programs, and they kind of go a little cuckoo if they're online for too long. And that's a huge point for Halo, I think 4 and 5. Both of them, you're going after Cortana, who has kind of like lost the plot.
It's like Cortana was designed by Apple or something.
Right.
over time, she gets slower and less effective.
Need an upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. But there's another storyline that a lot of people forget, and it's present very briefly in Halo Reach, and that's the use of like a terrorist organization that the UNSC is actually fighting. That's originally what the Spartans were designed for, was to win this war against these terrorists, or this rebellion, if you want to call them that. And I'm wondering if they're going to utilize that. There's a little
rebellions are built on hope.
Yeah. There was a comment I think Joker said, or maybe it was Broken Birds, who said that maybe they'll run into Mando on the latest Ring World or something. But this rebellion, you can see these people, they've got like AK-47 type weapons. They're on like a desert planet in this little ramshank town of theirs. I'm wondering if that's how this is going to start, similar to in Halo Reach, where they go to investigate this rebellion. And then they realize that the Covenant is there as well, and it kind of kicks off the events of Halo Reach. So I'm wondering if they're going to utilize that, if maybe the first couple episodes is going to be about this rebellion, and then shortly after that, the Covenant's going to come in and it's going to be a bigger threat. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it might be a really fun little plot that goes there, and I think it's where we meet probably our main. It's going to be like the person who takes the place of the audience, right? The fish out of water. It's going to be this young girl who teams up with Master Chief, and I wonder if she's going to be some part of this rebellion or something. What do you guys think? Katie, you're the storyteller. What did you think of when you met this young girl? Is she going to be with us throughout the show?
She's definitely a colonist, and it does look like that she's a recurring character throughout the series. It'll be interesting to see like how they structure this, because it is going to be linear, right? They're not going to be like jumping backwards and forwards in time and all that crazy stuff The Witcher did in their first season.
They showed a young version of
well, I mean, there might be flashbacks.
Okay,
that's not too unusual, but honestly, like I don't know anything about the storyline other than what we got exposed to in the trailers. I'm just hoping that we see a lot of really awesome Spartans versus aliens type stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm really hoping for. It seems that way. I mean, this is a trailer. A trailer can be very deceptive, but it seems like Master Chief is front and center of this entire trailer. Like, we're going to be following his story.
I just don't want them to take his helmet off.
Yeah,
they got to keep his helmet on.
Yeah, I brought it up a minute ago about how they changed the voice. So it's not the actor from the video games. It's actually Pablo's voice underneath the helmet. And that's what worries me. Like, if they were just going to do like a Darth Vader thing where it's, it's James Earl Jones's voice with David Prowse doing the body work, why can't they do that with this show? And that makes me think that they're going to utilize Pablo he's a very talented actor, very cool actor, lots of cool stuff behind him in his resume. But I think they're going to utilize that, and they're going to go full Mandalorian, and I think they're going to take his freaking helmet off. And it's going to be like Pablo's claim to fame, I guess, with this show, is he's going to be the new Master Chief moving forward. What do you guys think? JT, you haven't talked in a minute. Go ahead.
No, I don't want the helmet off. I want the Judge Dredd style, where he's wearing the helmet through the whole series. And maybe you might see the back of his head, and maybe, whatever. But no. Got to keep it. It just takes away from the mysterious side of it. So
yeah, I mean, there was a small cinematic for, I think, an advertisement for Halo 4 where you get to see his eyes for a split second, but it's not like it's kind of the rule for Master Chief. I think originally it was just they want you to feel like you are Master Chief. It's a first-person shooter. You are the character. That's why they never show his face, is so that you can put yourself in the suit and feel like it's you. Does that translate to live action, Kadish? Do you think they can pull something like that off, or you're strong for like never take it off?
I'm very much in the never take the helmet off camp. especially like considering like you've got this long, rich history of Master Chief in the video games, you've never seen his face. So like it would be my same complaint with Mandalorian, because I felt like the minute they took Mandalorian's helmet off, he lost a lot of his cool factor. And with this, it seems to me like if they do make that mistake, it's going to be a huge detriment to the show going forward. Like if they pulled one of these things where they cast Pablo Schreiber, who's a well-known actor, and never bother to show his face, I would have a great deal of respect. But it seems to me like if they never planned to show his face, they would have just cast some stunt guy in the role and had like a name actor do the voice or something like that. Yeah. So I am a little bit concerned that they have plans to show the Master Chief's face, but I really, really hope that maybe it's just in flashbacks or something like that.
That might work if they do Pablo in a flashback where
he's they show him as a little kid in the trailer where he's talking with Bokeem Woodbine.
I was trying to find that moment in here, but I can't remember.
I would be okay if they did a flashback like when he's training, but once he's like elite status Master Chief, no helmet off. Like yeah.
Do you guys know much about Blue Team from the video games? We get Halo 5, I think, is the game that you get a real good look at who Blue Team is, and you get a little bit of their history. But I think that's what they're doing with this. So instead of Blue Team, they're going with Silver Team or something like that, and that's what gives us our silver timeline. But in Halo 5, Chief basically has his Spartan 2 mates that he grew up with, that he's been working with for years and years before the games. They are like his family to him. It's how it's explained in the video game. And it's a pretty cool group of people of Spartan 2s. They're all badass. They all have their own little thing. And I think that's what they're doing with this, where they got these his crewmates that they're going to have with them. We got the pink hair, super strong female character, which is great. Got to have those these days.
There are two females, aren't there?
There might be. I don't think we see.
Yeah, they're both women, and then the black guy.
Okay. So there's a black Spartan in Halo 5. His name is Locke. I'm not sure if they're going to go that direction or not. But this
played
is
by Luke Cage.
Yeah. But this is like the replacement Blue Team for Chief, which I'm totally fine with. It doesn't bother me at all. I know some people are worried that this is where the freaking political messaging is going to come in, but to me, I just see three freaking.
I just love the accuracy of the pulse rifle. Like it looks just like the rifle from the game.
This makes me want to go back and play the game again from the beginning.
Like I said, right now I'm playing Halo Infinite, and gosh, man, the nostalgia is real, dude. Like all their weaponry, the armor, all of this stuff is like straight video game accurate. I love it. It's so freaking cool. And I'm nerding out. I feel like I'm shilling a little bit too much about this, but I don't like. It was a freaking badass trailer, man. I don't know.
When did the Halo game come out? Was it 2000 or 2001?
2001, I think, was Combat Evolved.
So when Combat Evolved came out, it was like such a huge hit. I think around 2005, Microsoft was lobbying really hard to get Halo made into a movie. Mm-hmm. And I know that they did like a really big push in Hollywood. Like they had people dressed up as Spartans go into studios with the script and hand it off to like, studio heads and stuff like that. And Microsoft was like, make this movie.
What a movie.
And it never happened. It was one of those weird things where Hollywood just kind of put it into development hell, and it never really got off the ground. I know that the guy who did District 9 was originally set to direct it. In fact, he directed like a commercial for it or something like that. And, they tried for years to get the movie made. And so the fact that they were able to turn it into a TV show that looks movie quality. I mean, like, look at that. That's amazing.
Yeah, this is
that ship is cool.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
I'm very excited to see what they came up with.
I love this comment by Backyard TARDIS. It says, it's only woke if they make references to the struggle of being a minority while fighting aliens. Outside of that, the diversity is awesome. That is very true. You can't claim victimization as being a minority if you're fighting freaking extraterrestrials. man. But yeah, this looks incredible. And again, the game accurate sniper rifle, the game accurate armor. This is straight out of Halo Reach. This character right here, there's a sniper character in Halo Reach that looks just like that. And I mean, look at the splatter effects with the alien blood. I mean, they got everything.
The Covenant ships look accurate. They look really good.
Yeah. I agree. I think the special effects and the look and feel of the video of this trailer is what's kind of going to push me to like I may want to go get this Paramount Plus and go watch it. But I'm still worried because of just the fact that it's a video game movie or TV show.
Yeah, video game creations when it comes to
well, here's the thing though. Video game adaptations into movies tend to not do well.
Mhm.
Video game adaptations into TV shows, they tend to do better, right?
Yeah.
Can you give us some examples? What TV shows have been made out of video games?
Ooh,
Okay.
well, I mean, just think of any like Super Mario cartoon or
Like animated stuff.
yeah.
Okay. I gotcha.
But in addition to that, I mean, like TV series just lend themselves more to the video game format because you can take your time and tell the stories. Whereas with the movies, you're trying to scrunch everything into like a 2-hour time frame.
Here's what we assume is the young Master Chief right here, John Spartan.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we think the storyline is going to be. So obviously we get Master Chief. He's out. He's being controlled. There's one image being used in the trailer that he's being controlled by the military, and that's basically his function. He's controllable weapon of mass destruction, basically. And what happens is when he touches this artifact that they find, it changes something in him. And I'm speculating that he's going to be able to make his own decisions, and he's going to become the Master Chief that we know in the video games, who, like, above all else, does what's right, not necessarily what he's being ordered to do. But first and foremost, he's a soldier, but his morals are very strong.
He's a super soldier. He's basically Captain America.
Yeah, he's Space Captain America. What do you got? Do you guys agree with me? Do you think that's the direction they're going to go? He's going to be like doing these real kind of evil things, and then something's going to change. He's going to touch this artifact, and then all of a sudden he's going to be a little bit more empathetic towards this young girl that he meets. What do you guys think? Kate, just go ahead.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to be evil, but he's definitely going to be a tool of the military, and then he's going to break out into his own individual self. Mm-hmm. Which is, what really sets the Master Chief apart from all the other soldiers is that he's got the will and the moral code to do what needs to be done no matter what, and that kind of elevates him, and it also inspires the people around him. So I feel like this is going to be a hero's journey. The first season, we're going to see the development of the Master Chief into the Master Chief, and I wouldn't be surprised if the season ends with him getting to the first Halo ring and setting up the conflict with the Covenant. One of the weird things from this trailer was, though, like there's this girl and she's there meeting with the leaders of the Covenant and kind of leading the attack against the humans, and yet she's a human, so I'm wondering what that's all about.
Yeah,
because I don't remember that from any of the games.
No, it's definitely not from the games. But
maybe she was raised or something from them.
Yeah, we'll get to her in a second. JT, what do you think is going to happen with Chief? What do you think his arc is going to be in this season?
Well, in this trailer, if you catch it, the girl looks shocked that he's even helping her. Mm-hmm. So I think that might be in the middle of the series, to where he does flip the script to where he's like, I'm going to go help these people instead of.
Yeah, because like I said, the rebellion, the UNSC sent the Spartans to go fight this rebellion. I think this girl is going to be a member of that rebellion who has watched the Spartans completely decimate her people, and then all of a sudden he touches this artifact and he becomes nice to her and he wants to save her and help her, and that's her surprise. We're like, you're helping me? Why? You're a Spartan? What are you talking? You've been killing my people for years. I think that's the direction they're going to go with this. So yeah,
they're kind of like boogeymen, right? They're kind of like the rest of the world. They're kind of like scared of them. They don't really know who they are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so this character right here. So what I think this is, and Kadish, maybe this will hit true to you as far as a writing perspective goes, but this TV show, although it does look gorgeous, to have a long-standing, fully CGI character like somebody who's in the Covenant in every single episode is going to be very expensive and very time-consuming to create. I'm wondering if this actress is kind of being like a surrogate for a character that might, like in a video game, might be a fully alien character, and she's somehow either taken over or she's fallen for this cult of the Covenant. It's kind of a religious cult at a certain point during the games, so I'm wondering if she's under their influence somehow, and she's kind of like the person that they send to warn the humans about the Covenant, and who's like the representative of them. But in real world, I think it's just they didn't want to have a fully CGI character in every episode. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, that's one of those practical concerns that you have to deal with when making a TV show. I might have aliened her up just a little bit, but I'm wondering how they're going to layer in the whole Flood storyline with this, if they're going to kind of hint at it, or if it's just going to strictly be Covenant versus UMSC. I think that they're setting up the whole Forerunner thing with like all these alien artifacts and stuff like that.
Right.
And I like that they're also hinting at a little bit of mythology behind the Halo rings themselves. They're calling them, was it the holy?
Yeah, it's a
divine,
holy ring or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So I'll be interested to see what they come up with this.
That's a great point about this. Go ahead.
I never thought about what you mentioned about her not really being human. She could be some surrogate. Just because I never thought about that.
That freaking rifle, dude. That's straight out again. That's so cool.
Makes you want one.
I know, right? That's the thing. I feel bad. Like, I know I watch these people and they have like full cosplays and they have freaking memorabilia and like little action figures and all this cool hot toy stuff. Like, I'm not a collector, but I am a freaking super fan of this franchise. Like, I love it, but I don't buy shit like that. So I'm like, I'm looking around my room right now. I'm like, I don't have anything to like, look, guys, I'm a fan. Like, I don't have that kind of stuff. I'm just a big fan of the games.
Do you have your Microsoft Live achievement account?
I do pay for Game Pass on Xbox, which is how I'm playing Halo Infinite right now. But
I wonder if they'd have like an achievement for watching the TV show. It's like achievement unlocked.
That'd be pretty dope. Be cool. It'd be the Paramount Plus NFT. You get like a new uniform or something. Well, yeah, I think to talk about, I think the most interesting thing, especially from the first three games, besides the Flood, obviously, is the battle between the humans and the Covenant, which I'm really hoping that this show kind of like takes its time in developing this war between the Covenant and the humans, because it's the most fun thing. Like, you spend all your time in the games fighting Covenant until the Flood show up, and then it's kind of like enemy of my enemy type of situation. But I don't want to see the Flood for at least 2 seasons, man. Like, build up to that. Make that like a big like season 3 finale. Like, oh shit, the Flood's here kind of a thing. Like,
I also hope they can get Keith David to come in and do some of the voice of one of the Covenant guys, because he was the voice of the guy that you team up with in Halo 2, I believe.
Yeah, the Arbiter, which I think he shows up in this freaking trailer, which was crazy. I did not expect to see the Arbiter. Right here. This is the Arbiter's armor. So that, like, this is different than most elites. Most elites have the full face coverings with the little mandibles and shit like that, and they're usually like white or red or something like that. But this guy, this is Arbiter. I'm wondering how they're gonna put him in this show. In the game, the Arbiter defies the orders from his higher council or whatever, and he gets caught. And as punishment, he becomes the Arbiter, which is basically like, you're going to do what we say, and it's going to be a suicide mission, and you're going to die doing it. Everybody who becomes an Arbiter eventually goes off into a suicide mission and dies. That's what they expect. And he survives because he teams up with Master Chief to fight the Flood, and his storyline goes on. I'm really curious how they're going to bring this character into the show. It'll be really interesting, because I didn't think we were there yet as far as the first season goes. Like, Arbiter, that character would make more sense in like a season 2 once you get to the ring.
Yeah, Zach's asked which one Nathan Fillion was in. I think he was actually in 2. I think he was in like 4 and 5.
So
Nathan, if I'm not mistaken.
Nathan Fillion plays a character named Buck, who he did a voiceover character. He was like a pilot in one of the earlier games, like 2 or 3. But they actually made him a legit Spartan in Halo 5, and he was on the team with Locke, and he was the one who was hunting Master Chief. But yeah, Nathan Fillion is a Spartan in canon. So they very well could bring in Nathan Fillion as like a guest appearance in one of these episodes and
drag his old ass.
That would be so
onto the screen.
All it's got to be is his head, man. He can have the armor on, and you can hide him pretty well. And once he puts the helmet on, it can be anybody. But yeah, Nathan Fillion, dude, like, bring that dude on board and put him in an episode.
Mike Coulter too, because he played He played Locke, didn't he?
Yeah. If I'm getting the guy's name right, you're talking about the Luke Cage guy.
Yeah, the Luke Cage guy, Michael Coulter.
Mm-hmm. So this is interesting. Maybe that wasn't Arbiter, because if you look at the Elite's armor in this looks very similar to the character that we just saw a minute ago. This looks this looks more like Arbiter armor. That's hard to say. Than it does like normal Elite armor from the video games. So I'm wondering if they did a little bit of a design change for these guys, and that might be something we need to look at, because this does not look.
Yeah, you're
like
right. They do look similar.
Yeah.
To the one that you had before.
I'm also wondering if they shot this on the volume.
Hmm.
It kind of looks like that might not be an actual set, but anything to save money nowadays.
Oh yeah, it's way cheaper.
Oh,
Just goddamn, dude, that looks so freaking good though.
Yeah.
Jeez,
That scene with the blood on his shield. That's my favorite.
Now the real question here is: do you think people will actually sign up to Paramount Plus just to watch this show?
That's a great question, because that's what they're basing the success off of these days is subscriptions. And for me personally, if I didn't already have Paramount Plus, I would 100% drop the freaking $60 for the year and watch this show. 100%, no question at all. Like, seeing this trailer, I'm sold. JT, what about you? You said you don't have Paramount Plus, or you're not sure if you do?
No, I don't have it.
Okay, so are you gonna sign up just for the show?
I'm probably leaning towards it. Yes. So.
Okay. Right on.
Then,
oh, go ahead. Keep going, man.
No, then you can give me an excuse. You can invite me back on.
From what I've seen so far, the special effects for this show look on par with like what we saw in Foundation, which was like movie quality. So it's pretty impressive so far.
I also read that they had a little trouble before COVID with production as well.
Yeah, so I just read this in one of these articles. I should probably pull them up, because that's what I meant to do when I did the stream, but whatever. They said that they had filmed 5 episodes of the show before COVID hit, and then they had to take like a 6 to 8 months break before starting filming up again. So
that happened to a lot of shows.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's going to affect the storyline, if they had to make some changes based off of like actors' availability and stuff. Because I know originally the actress who is playing the doctor who created the Spartan program, I keep forgetting what her name is.
Her name
Dr.
is
Kathleen Hazley.
Natasha McElhenney.
Yeah, Natasha. She was originally supposed to play Cortana, according to this, I don't know, Watch Mojo or whatever. But because of the COVID lockdowns and because of availability issues, they actually changed it to bring Jen Taylor in, and she was Cortana, and they switched the characters around a little bit. So I'm wondering, how many issues did they run into while they were going in lockdown and having half the season filmed? Real quick, Mexican Iron Man. $10 super chat. Holy cow. I'm crossing my fingers. Love the look and feel, but worried about the story plot.
Yeah,
okay.
Those $10 are going to get us a lot of tacos, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And he's one of the top tier patrons of our podcast, man. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it. Check your email. Check your email, bud, because we sent out for your giveaway for the top tier patrons. They guys got some hats on the way. We need your shipping information, so check your email, buddy. But thank you so much for the $10, man. I really appreciate that. And I think we're all in the same boat. Like, the trailer looks amazing. Is the story going to hold up? We'll find out.
Well, we're definitely going to be covering this on the Salty Nerd podcast, though, right?
Yes, absolutely.
This is going to be our next Wednesday show after Peacemaker, probably.
Yeah. So when does Peacemaker end? Do you know how many weeks we have left of that?
I think so like we're on episode 6 come this Friday. So I want to say they're either 8 or 10 episodes. So it'll probably end during February.
Okay. We'll take a couple week break and do some movies and stuff. And then once this picks up, actually this picks up in March 24th, which is later on in the month. So
we could probably do like a couple primer videos talking about background of Halo. Up to it.
I'm down for that, man. I'll make a video essay, dude. I don't care. I'm freaking in. So Buford T, that's a great name, Buford Tannen. Justice says it isn't going to focus on the chief. That's one of the biggest worries for me. I think this trailer might be a little misleading about how often they show the chief. I'm worried that they're going to go similar route that they did Henry Cavill from Witcher. Like, Witcher is the title character, but it's very much a story about Ciri and Henry Cavill's character Geralt is like a side character who kind of like is
Well, in TV, it lends itself more to ensemble stuff because you can have like A stories, B stories, C stories, Z stories if need be. So like my guess is like we'll probably get some like a storyline with Dr. Catherine Halsey. We'll probably get one with like the military, the general. We'll probably get one with the Silver Group. Probably get some flashback stuff. So even though like I can't see a Halo series that isn't based around Master Chief, but we're probably going to have a lot of like diverging storylines where like we'll be introduced to different characters and different things going on. We may even get to see like the inner workings of the Covenant for all I know. They did that in the video games quite successfully. So to say it's not based around Master Chief, we don't know anything about that yet, but you can't just have him be like in every scene of the show. It'd be too much.
That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I want though.
I want Master Chief in every scene. No, it absolutely. When you have 8 to 10 episode series, and you have like, look at the cast. The cast on this show is freaking enormous. Like you're gonna have different characters doing different things, and episodes that are going to be dedicated fully to non-chief characters. I get that. Well, like I said before, I just want the heart of this show to really be about.
Is it 9 episodes, or is it?
I'm
10?
assuming most modern TV shows on streaming services are like 8 to 10 episodes. That's typical these days. So I'm thinking they'll probably do the same format. The one thing I did read that I was super excited about was that it's going to be week to week. They're not going to binge this. It's going to be one episode.
Well, that's typical for Paramount. I wonder if they're going to drop like 2 or 3 episodes at the beginning, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it when they do that.
I do.
You're crazy though. You like the binge stuff.
I love it.
You're a binger.
I am a binger.
I like the week to week, but then I can always binge it later. Go back and watch it.
Yeah, I'm a week to week guy. I love that format. I will never want to get away from it. I like having that anticipation. I like being able to talk with my fellow nerds and kind of speculate about what's going to happen next. I think that enhances the viewing of the show. So for me, I'm all about the week to week stuff. But any other comments, JT? Anything else that you're worried about or that you're wondering what they're going to do?
I'm just the trailer. Once I rewatched it, I'm 75-25. I used to be 50-50, but now it seems like it'll be a good show, and I'll probably sign up and watch it.
Right. Real quick, I just found this little quote that I thought was interesting and kind of nice. It says, in an interview with Halo Waypoint, Wolfkill said that the decision to establish a new Silver timeline was made to protect the integrity and simplicity of the future core canon, but also not to be limited by it when faced with the realities of a new medium and a process of production. So to protect the integrity and simplicity, I can kind of respect that, like being a fan of the games. I'm always going to be able to go back to the games and be like, this is, especially the first 3, and be like, this is the freaking timeline that I grew up with. This is there. The show can go off and do little things, little changes here and there, and it might not bother me that much. I look at it very similar to like, if you consider Marvel bases all their movies off of comic book storylines, character arcs, and stuff like that. Movies like Civil War are vastly different than the comic book adaptation that they are made from. But we still really enjoy Civil War. It's one of my top favorite Marvel movies. But they went off on their own little thing. It's a different timeline, whatever you want to call it. It's a different story. It's not exactly like the comic books, but it's still good in its own right. And it allows the comic books to still exist in their realm and be what you grew up with and what we've always had. So I don't know. What do you guys? Am I right with that? Am I wrong? What do you guys think about that analogy?
No, you're right. But I just looked up the director for like half the series, 4 episodes, I think it's the director who did the pilot as well. So his name is Jonathan Liebsman, and he's a South African filmmaker. But his big claim to fame is this movie called Battle Los Angeles, which is I love that movie. It's basically Two-Face as American soldier fighting an alien invasion, and Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. I don't know what Alex's problem with it is, but
I remember watching it and being like, "Wow, this movie's bonkers."
So he's directed Battle Los Angeles, Wrath of the Titans, which was the sequel to Clash of the Titans, the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and yeah, the reboot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I think that Battle Los Angeles, like if you go and watch that movie, you'll get a sense of what we can expect from the Halo.
Okay.
From the Halo movies, because
I'll have to go watch it again.
When was the last time you saw that?
Oh God, years. It's been years. I think
like the urban warfare against aliens
fun.
was badass, man. Like,
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Watch it again. Real quick, I want to introduce a first-time guest on the Salty Nerd podcast, the Time Lord himself. What's up, Nick? How you doing?
Nice shirt, Nick.
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Yeah, nice shirt. Go to Salty Store. Sorry, what is
SaltyNerdStore.com.
He doesn't even know.
I can't remember my own freaking word store.
If you need it, just DM me and I'll send you the link.
Battle Los Angeles is a cinematic masterpiece. Another $5 super chat. From
I agree with Mexican Iron Man.
That's fantastic. Thank you for the super chat, man. I really appreciate that. Nick, I'm so glad you're here, man. Welcome to the show, buddy. This is your first time being on us. You've been supporting us since day one, literally our first patron right here. And
Wow.
You've been supporting us since the beginning, even before I met my now main crew. Welcome to the show, man. Thank you. I'm honored to have you on.
I ragged on Alex for a long time to start a Patreon because I was convinced he was going to quit. And so I wanted to give him monetary.
And I'm still convinced he's going to quit. He's always threatening to.
Oh my God. I'm done.
Don't quit. I just signed up, so don't quit.
You're like, I'm going to take my backpack. I'm going to go out into the wilderness. I'm never coming back. You guys are never hearing from me again.
I'm done. I got 50 views on my last video. I'm out of here. No, it was crazy though. I made a reaction video and I'm like, hey, it came out I think maybe 3 or 4 hours after the actual trailer dropped. I made a reaction video, my first one ever solo reaction video. And I was like, oh, I'm hopping on a trend. Maybe it'll get a ton of views. It got less views than our 2-hour-long podcast. I'm just like, whatever. I'm not built for this YouTube thing.
Now, the question is, did it get less views than Vader got reading the back of a water bottle?
It might have. It might be a challenge. I'll have to go back and see how many Vader got on that.
Well, come on. Vader's very entertaining.
He's extremely entertaining.
Alex can't hold a candle to Vader's natural charisma.
See, the problem though is you are chasing a trend, and so because you're chasing a trend, you have all these big YouTubers that are going to pop up at the top of that search when somebody types in like Halo trailer reaction.
And I don't think Alex did any SEO on it or anything like that.
A couple hashtags in there. Thank you, Gasso. He's like, I watched it, Salty.
I watched it. I was one of the 50.
Thank you, guys. So me and you were talking in our Discord app last night about Halo and about the storyline and stuff. So go ahead, man. Since you're here, give us your thoughts. What do you think this is going to be about?
For me, so my perspective is I'm super stoked about this show because I am a gamer. I hate first-person shooters and third-person shooters and just pretty much any game where you play as a human going around slowly. I just seem to walk out and get headshot right off the bat and die. I'm classic 2D side scrollers, fighting games, all that kind of stuff. But the story of Halo is something that has always really attracted me. And it's been kind of like, oh, wow, I kind of look at like Halo is like the Star Wars of video games, and like Mass Effect is like the Star Trek of video games. And so they're like these worlds that I really want to get invested in, but they're through a medium that I have trouble interacting with. So I'm watching Let's Plays, I'm watching cutscene, put together videos, but this is going to be Halo for me.
Okay.
Is the way I look at it. This is going to be how I'm going to fully get to experience this the proper way.
Right on. And
I do think that the TV format, well, yes, most of what we would point out as examples are like animated. The week to week is much better for how a video game story is set up, because you can't do a movie about a property that has to do with missions and all that in 1 2 hour. It just doesn't. That's why most of them stink, is because they're trying to put this 40, 60, 80 hour experience into a 2 hour movie.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work.
Yeah, if you watch the first season of The Last Ship, which was Steve Kane, the showrunner on Halo's last series, it's very military, and it's about like this disaster that happens on Earth, and one of the only survivors are on this like military battleship. And so it's about this crew, and they go from place to place trying to find like resources and figure out what happened and save the rest of humanity and stuff like that. And you can kind of see like not only how they treat the military, but also like, you know, like Nick said, the episodic mission stuff that leads into a broader narrative. It's actually a really good show. At least the first season was. It kind of went downhill after that, but you get at least 2 good seasons out of it.
Right on. I have to. Do you know what streaming service it's on? I'll have to check it out.
Well, it's a TNT show, so I'm guessing that it would be under HBO Max, but don't quote me on that. You can probably find it on Amazon for sale or something like that. But I watched it when it aired, and it was a very good show.
Right on. All right, guys. Nick, again, thank you for joining us, and I appreciate your perspective on this as a non-video game player who's like looking forward to diving into this world. I think that's a great perspective to have.
Yeah.
And one last thing I want to point out is just how freaking badass this dude is right here. Holy shit! Look at that guy. Look at that freaking stormtrooper helmet, dude. That thing is so dope.
That's something I also wanted to mention, like the impact of Halo. We've watched like in The Mandalorian how they've been like mimicking Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Apollo 11, all these different, big movies. And in this recent in Book of Boba Fett, they had an episode, and that whole ring, like that is totally a Halo callback. And the fact that Halo could now come around to influence Star Wars when Star Wars heavily influenced Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just...
Well, Ringworld influenced both of them first. So
yeah, but I mean, just kind of like the idea that this is become so mainstream, because when people are watching that, I'm not seeing a whole lot of comments across Twitter going Ringworld. I'm seeing a lot of people point out Halo, so that's what's in people's consciousness.
Well, I mean, Halo's like it's 20-something years old now, man. Like that was one of the first person shooter games I've ever played, and I've been playing it since I was a teenager, and it's what I grew up with. So
and the actual physics of the Halo ring don't quite work out if you think about it for too long. Well, like how does atmosphere work on that thing?
I don't know.
Well, that's why it's perfect for Star Wars.
Yeah, sci-fi magic. I know gravity would work because if it's spinning, the centrifugal force is going to keep you down. But as far as
it would have to be spinning pretty hard in order for that to happen. But also, like how does the atmosphere not just float away? Like what's keeping it there?
Magic, sciencey bullshit.
There was another movie, right? A Matt Damon movie with the ring.
Yeah,
Elysium.
Yeah.
I think one of the showrunners or directors for Halo actually worked on that movie too.
Okay.
Well, the guy who directed that movie was supposed to direct the Halo movie back in the day. Let me see. I forget his name. He was,
there's been a lot of attempts to do this with Halo.
Oh yeah. Look, we talked about a little bit before that this has been in development hell for a long time.
Yeah.
We've had like Forward Unto Dawn was actually a pretty good little
Neil
short
Blomkamp. Neil Blomkamp was the director of Elysium, who was supposed to do the Halo movie.
Okay, he sounds really familiar.
He's done a lot of like cool stuff. But I think Ridley Scott was set to produce the Halo movie at a certain point.
There was Halo Nightfall, which I think got scrapped. Even this show itself lost 2 of the producers early on in its development, and they switched everything up.
Although nothing holds a candle to Red versus Blue, right?
Oh god.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna have a night for that. Now, have you watched Red versus Blue, Kadish?
No.
No? Oh my god, dude.
I mean,
Kadish
I've seen clips. I haven't watched like the whole series.
So the freelancer arc, that's one of those things where, Kadish, you talk about people who are fly by the pants writers.
Yeah,
So
Pantsers.
the first 5 seasons was just them, on the side, kind of like you guys. They have a day job at a telecommunication communication center, and they're just recording this afterwards, and it's all just dumb jokes, no graphics, and then they planned on at the end of the 5th season that being it, and then it was like a huge success. They're selling DVDs like nuts, even though it's for free on YouTube. And so they pull in an animator, and they pull in some serious voice actors, and then they come up with like this brilliant plot that then takes those first 5 seasons of nonsense and like steeps it into a mystery box. They created the mystery box after the fact. And like when they get to that point, it's like
Only Red versus Blue fans are gonna get this comment.
oh,
I love it.
what is it?
What? Like a blue-
Oh, yeah.
Oh god, that show is so good. I can't recommend it enough. If you love those goofy like Star Wars
And-
Troopers or whatever that one's called, where it's kind of like a knock on cops, like Red versus Blue is so comical and so funny.
And
I
there's
highly recommend it.
some unforgiving humor in that. Especially those first 5 seasons, like they have so little they can work with, so they really like dial up the humor in those first 5 seasons.
This is a freaking poster, dude. Look at that shit. That's so freaking cool. All right, guys, it's been our hour. Thank you everybody for joining us. Really appreciate it. JT, you are a first-time member of the Salty Nerd podcast tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate. I know it was last minute. I was like, "Hey, man, are you free tonight?" You're like, "I think so."
It was great.
But thank you so much. Let people know where you can go to find your content, and also if you want to mention, I know you just got set up on Fiverr as an artist too. I believe, is that correct?
You can find me on Twitter at jgun09 or Instagram at Gunter Graphics. I'm a graphic artist, so I've done some YouTube designs for a recent Red 5 channel, new channel AT after the weekend. And yes, I'm trying to get on Fiverr, but I'm also now an artist on TeePublic, so you can hire me for an artist to for t-shirt designs, whatever, logo, stuff like that.
Excellent. I'm getting tired of doing my own stuff. I might have to call you sometime.
Sure. Yeah. No
That's
problem.
great, man. Congratulations on that. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
I love
thanks.
seeing people, dive in for their passions and get some money.
Oh, yeah.
on it. So that's awesome. And Nick, buddy, I want people to go check out your Day of the Life of a Locksmith videos. They are fascinating, and I think they need more attention. So go ahead, let people know where they can find your content at, bud.
Yeah, I've taken January off, but I'll be back at it in February. It's Backyard TARDIS on YouTube, and I've got The Adventures of Locksmithing. I'm a locksmith, so all my videos, low production, Matt Vader approved. Just me in the van between jobs, pulling up aside a moment either to tell a story about that, or then I also talk about nerd culture, and I usually keep everything down to 5 to 20 minutes.
Here he is.
The man, the myth, the legend, Matt Vader. Dude, you're more popular than me. You know that?
That's the way it should be.
I'm on his head. So.
That's awesome. Gonzo, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Thanks for the live stream, fellas. Thank you for being here, dude. I love seeing our God, I can't talk. I love seeing our Australian members in the chat.
It's not a show till I get to come in for the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's it. My lady, he's like, it's 11 o'clock.
Are you guys doing a watch party tonight?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Tonight's watch party is going to be in our Discord. It's public access. Go to saltynerdiscord.com. Hop in there. We're going to be watching the first pilot episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's going to be part of our month of February.
Jude is so excited.
Jude is very excited. She's the one who picked this month. So thank you to Jude. I know she hasn't joined us yet on the late night stream, but Matthew Kadish, go ahead, buddy. Where can they find your books, and what do we have planned for our podcast in the future?
So you can find me on Twitter at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, and you can also go to kadishbooks.com if you want to check out some of my books on Amazon. And in terms of the future, we're going to be discussing Viggo Mortensen movies tomorrow. So if you want to listen in, you can join us live on the Twitter Spaces for that. We've got some big interviews with Hollywood celebrities coming out in the next couple months, I guess, and we're trying to book even more. And other than that, we're just hanging out, having a good time with our listeners and our fans. So we got a lot of stuff publishing on the YouTube channel. So if you have that bell icon hit, I'm very sorry. Don't mean to be flooding your feed, but some of the clips are pretty funny. So if you wouldn't mind sharing those around, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You
So
have any more interviews with Norseman coming up?
Yes.
Yes, we definitely have some in the future. We had a recent interview with the showrunner, Jan Iver. I can't remember. Was it Gelkaker?
Helgaker?
Helgaker. I can't remember his last name, but John Iver is what he preferred to be called anyway. But that's being edited right now. That'll be out fairly soon, and that's a really fun interview, guys. If you guys haven't watched Norseman, head over to Netflix. It's one of the best comedies they have on that platform. It's so freaking funny, and we've been able to talk with many of the members of the production and crew and actors and stuff, and they're really super nice people. And we're trying to build some anticipation, some fan movement here in the States to get them a season 4. Netflix has dropped them like they do. They drop all their best shows.
And he was very cagey about our questions for season 4, which means that he probably thinks that there's still a chance it can get made.
Yeah,
I think I need to be in it.
And we'll all fly out to Norway and be extras.
That's right.
That'd be incredible.
We actually pitched him on the idea of a Viking Cop.
What did he say? It's a great idea.
Great idea. Go make it. Yes.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much.
I got something I want to plug really quick.
Oh, go for it, bud. What's up?
Saturday morning, Salty Nerd podcast. Everybody be there. This week we're talking more Mando and Amazon Prime's Vox Machina this week. That's the 2 big topics, plus whatever new stuff we got to do. So
Vox Machina is a great show. I watched the first 3 episodes. And also we need to let everyone know that before July 4th, we need to hit 10,000 subscribers. And if we do, Matt Vader 74 has agreed to get a tattoo of Alex's face on his butt cheek.
I will drive to Vegas. I'm only 4 hours away.
So we need to make that happen. So tell everyone to subscribe to our channel. Just tell them to go to saltynerdvideo.com. Matt Vader has agreed to live stream the tattoo process when it's happening in celebration of hitting that milestone. So if you guys can help us make that happen before July 4th, it's got to happen before July 4th. We would really appreciate it.
Like, I really, really want 10K subs on the YouTube channel, but I don't want my photo on his butt cheek. So, like, maybe on July 5th we can get to 10K. All right.
Don't be rooting against us, Alex.
Right?
Don't be rooting against us.
It's precious to me. I don't want it on his freaking butt cheek.
Zach's asked, Vader, is there a stretch goal?
50,000 subs. Maybe I'll get America's ass tattooed on my butt or something stupid like that. So, no.
You get a nicer ass tattooed on your ass?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Literally selling parts of your body for freaking YouTube subs.
Right here.
Before Matt says anything else crazy and makes some weird goal.
I know, right?
Thank you guys for joining us. Nick, I'm so happy you made it, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And I guess welcome to the show, buddy. You a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I can't thank you enough how much your support means to us. So thank you so much. Again, guys, support from everybody is always welcome and is a great value. At $5 a month, you guys get a ton of extra content from us. Go to saltynerdclub.com and help us out. But that's it.
It's worth it.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate that. Have a great night, everybody. And tomorrow on Twitter Spaces, salty_nerd on Twitter. we will be talking about Viggo Mortensen movies. So hop over there. We're doing it live, raw, unedited.
I thought it was Viggo Morgenstern.
Viggo.
That's
Whatever.
what Kadish would say, right? So
What, you mean it's not that?
no,
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for him to destroy all the.
it's gonna be a good day tomorrow.
Is Vigo.
It's Viggo Day. That's right.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow on Twitter Spaces. Good night.
See you guys. Thank you.